Hey, hope you're doing really well and just checking in. So the channel is doing really well. It's growing. It's really nice to see that. It's really nice to see your comments and to see the engagement on the videos and just overall, it's lovely to see that a lot of people are on the awakening path and on the path to becoming better people, purer people, easier people to be with, less suffering in yourself and others, but also this exploration of who am I? What is this? What am I experiencing? What is reality? And can I not only explore that, but can I feel that? And that's super beautiful to see in my clients, but also to live that daily myself is being a treat and is a treat overall. So I recently got the question, one of my clients asked me, why do I emphasize on shadow work so much? So when I have a conversation with a client, it really depends on what type of questions they ask me. Sometimes it's really about the practice, or sometimes it's really about spirituality, but often it's about their lives. Because your experience of reality is what's front and center for you. So working with that will dissolve, let's say, the pieces you maybe need to see. Your suffering is front and center. Maybe a little bit about my process because of the Kundalini I had, which was quite intense. It has calmed down a lot. But because of that, there was a lot of stuff that came up, and there was a lot of, almost you could say, psychoanalysis. And this was not only through Kundalini, that's also just the process of becoming aware. And so my process entailed lots of shadow work. And it had some moments which clearly made me realize the deeper parts of reality and made me see what this is. And, so much so that I needed to really sometimes, I was almost gasping like, whoa, this is so big, this is so huge, and what the fuck? But it was not the thing I was in the journey for in the first place. My first intention was to optimize myself. And then actually when I had the first awakening experience, it was more to go with the flow of life. And where it brought me was mostly purifying my own experience of this and also seeing the depth of it. But because every time I would sit for meditation, I would see mostly my suffering. I started to work with that mostly. And then the space that's behind that, or the calmness, the clarity, which is also very beautiful, wasn't available most of the time because of all this energy coming up with Kundalini and also mental suffering coming up. And interesting enough, the suffering, I would say, is not like I had quite a good childhood. So it's not really that I had this huge amount of suffering to process, but it's just all the subtle suffering, let's say, wanted to come up and was front and center for me. So shadow work is very much, or looking at where you have misperceptions of life, you could say mentally, and emotionally, and also energetically. That's has been my main practice, even though I've also been very much interested in theoretical non-duality and more surrender in my day-to-day practices, and also sitting, meditation. I think it's always a multi-leveled approach that you take to life. And I think that's most effective. So combining different approaches is most effective, and taking it into your daily life off the cushion is most effective. But shadow work has been a big part of me. So when I talk to people, they tend to talk from their persona. And from the persona, it's because, and that's also because if you don't talk from the persona, there is never a problem actually. So the problem is only in the persona. So you could say, avoid the persona then, which is a valid thing that a lot of teachers are teaching. But I would say integrate the persona or embrace the persona or work with the persona in a way where you get to dissolve the suffering that is in the persona, the misperceptions that are in the persona. And of course, that's a tight balancing act where you don't want to get lost in the persona. You don't want to, again, engage that too much and think that it's real, etc. But on the other hand, I'm a big fan of not bypassing the persona, but sort of being with the persona and letting it dissolve through time, but also through looking at specific things or changing your mind, really changing God, changing its own mind on this, or changing its opinion on certain things from this personal perspective. And again, yeah, the perspective itself is not personal, right? But it's the persona we tend to be sucked into a little bit. It's the beliefs we tend to be sucked in a little bit. So we want to deconstruct those beliefs, you could say. So it's like, it depends what I talk about with clients, but a lot of the times it's about their lives and their, you could say, shadow side, even though for me it's not a shadow. It's kind of like a misperception of what reality is for them, or what ease is already there. I think William James, I read something about William James, who is like the founding father of psychology, and he said all clients or all patients think that there's something wrong, and it's our job as the therapist to basically convince them that there's nothing wrong, that there's no problem in the first place. And that's how I try to do that, is by deconstructing, helping people deconstruct different beliefs. So yeah, I love you guys, and thanks so much for watching, and thanks for supporting me and the channel. And every time, you comment on something, or you like something, or you share it with your friends, that helps the algorithm show my stuff to more people. And it also helps this to grow this category of people that are actively trying to be, you could say, more loving, more peaceful humans in this world. And I know I have people from all different countries watching my stuff, even in war zones. So I really am grateful for this inspiration that I'm able to facilitate for people. But know that you are good, you are God, you are good enough, you're perfect, and you're never alone, my friend. I love you. Bye.